Good evening, everyone. Captain Christie connecting. It's time for another live discussion for the online crew. Tonight, we will focus on the distant education and Simonson equivalent theory. Our discussion covers Simonson equivalent theory and how it might affect how universities or K through 12 handle the development, implementation, and management of distant learning programs. Scholars and Simonson 2009 wrote that distant education is defined as institution-based formal education where the learning group is separated and where the interactive communication systems are used to connect learners, resources, and instructors. Education at a distance should be built on the concept of equivalency of learning experiences. The more equivalent the learning experience of distant learners are to those of local learners, the more equivalent will be the outcomes of the educational experience for all learners. This approach to distant education advocates designing a collection of equivalent learning experiences for distance and local learners, even though they may be different for each student. Is distant education a new movement for the K through 12 educational system? No. Just the way it implemented by the educators to the curriculum might be noted as part of the changing features. The objective of the objective of the instructional designer of distant education is to provide for appropriate equivalent learning experiences for each student. This theory is based on the following definitions of distant education as the formal, institutionally based educational activities where the learner and teacher are separated from one another, and where two-way interaction communication systems are used to synchronously and asynchronously connect them for the sharing of video, voice, and database instruction. Simonson, 1995. How we have changed the face of education with the internet and many features programs of the app world. The development opens many doors and education is limitless. Every day someone is inventing an app and educators continue to unravel and make use of such awesome technology. The equivalency theory states that distant education is not identical to educational traditional education, but it is equivalent. The basis for Simonson equivalent theory is that learning experience should be equivalent rather than identical, regardless of whether the learner is in a traditional or distant setting. Simonson 2015. Though, thus, those developments, distance education systems should strive for equivalency in the learning experience of all students, regardless of how they are linked to the resources or the instruction they require. There are several key elements to equivalency theory. They are the concept of equivalency, learning experiences, appropriate application, students, and outcomes. Simonson, 2015. The equivalency approach is distinctively American. It is based on the core values held almost sacred in America's education, such as the use of regular classroom teachers or facilities. The teaching is a learning process. Local control, small class size, rapport between teacher and learner, and personalized learning. Most importantly, equivalent distant learning relies heavily on the use of modems and powerful interactive communication system to be successful. Simonson, 2015. The face of education is changing rapidly, and educators will be brought along or dragged in the process. The highway has many corridors and lanes, and the educational routes are personalized for each individual.